The world we see today is not even close to the world we lived in 500 years ago. This has brought great changes to human life. For example, new technologies released into the market every year, as well as increased longevity. However, there is always a negative side to the growth of every kind of industry. We want to talk about the excessive consumerism that plagues people's daily lives, focusing on meat and processed food consumption and waste. Brazil is one of the largest meat producers in the world. In May 2019, 150 million tons of meat were exported, according to data from Abrafrigo. This massive economy in Brazil is sustained by research made by FAO, which exposed that while the global population doubled, the quantity of meat consumed quadrupled. What does meat have that makes people want to consume it in such an excessive amount? People believe that meat is fundamental for the human diet. However, two factors prove that it's actually not. Firstly, meat is at the top of the energy pyramid, which means that it has only 10% of the total energy that a vegetable has. Therefore, if we eat meat to have energy, it would only make sense to choose the food that has the most energy. Secondly, human teeth are similar to herbivorous teeth. Our canine teeth are straight and small, while carnivorous teeth are sharp and serrated. What we're proposing is not an end of meat consumption, but a change of habit by reducing and modifying consumption. By changing habits, we can change the world by reducing the feeling of necessity that most people have towards meat. Which leads us to the question, what makes meat so important? It's not the consumption of meat itself, it's more linked to a cultural heritage ingrown in society. Have you ever stopped to think that when you eat, you're consuming way more than whatever's on your plate? While rice has a demand of 1,408 cubic meters per ton of water, bovine meat needs 13,500 cubic meters per ton. This is an absurd amount of water needed and wasted to produce meat in comparison to a vegetable that grows inside the water. All this consumption and water waste can be helped by cutting meat consumption for 1 week. This simple act will save up to 35 million liters of water, while taking short 3 to 5 minute showers for a week only saves 5,000 liters. Moreover, the carbon footprint emitted by meat is much larger than vegetables and grains. Why is beef so carbon heavy? Animal-based foods have a larger carbon footprint than plant-based foods. Producing beef, for example, uses 20 times the land and emits 20 times the emissions than growing beans per gram of protein, and requires more than 10 times more resources than producing chicken. Have you ever noticed the amount of plastic and styrofoam packaging in the supermarket? According to a study by Alberti, in 2018, Brazil produced 79 million tons of trash, plastic representing 13.5% of that number. Styrofoam and plastic are not biodegradable products, meaning that they will never leave this earth. It will only end up staying in landfills, the plastic for 500 years and the styrofoam forever, since it doesn't degrade. Moreover, when it ends up in the ocean, it turns into microplastics, impacting marine life. This amount of trash produced is waste due to the quantity of packaging used on fruits, vegetables, or meat. We, Avengers of climate change, want to emphasize that we do not want society to return to the era called natural or caveman that hunted and cultivated their own food, but we want to bring to your attention the fact that society consumes an excess of meat, which is affecting the environment. The correct way to maintain the balance of the ecosystem is the circle production way of the industry. The circle of life has its beginning and its end connecting, helping each other to start a new cycle while ending it. We can use the Amazon rainforest soil as an example. The soil is in reality a poor one, but is filled with organic material, which makes the land extremely fertile. If all the plants and the animals were removed from the land, it will turn into a desert. With the help from the perished plants and animals, the soil can be healthy and nutritious, allowing the new generation to grow with strength, continuing the cycle. However, since the Industrial Revolution, societies have increased consumption habits. This circle turned into a line. The linear way of consuming and producing outlines the non repetitive cycle. After something is produced, when it is disposed of, it doesn't have anywhere to go, since it does not decompose. It can't become organic material and help other plants and animals to reproduce. The linear way of consuming is linked to the decomposition time of processed foods, which is much longer compared to organic foods. An example of this is the McDonald's hamburger, exposed on October 31st, 2009 in Iceland. It will be 13 years old this year. Food waste and packaging waste impact the ozone layer by emitting harmful gases in landfills. Overall, between 2010 and 2016, food loss and waste accounted for 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions from human activities. In the US alone, the production of food that is lost or wasted releases the same amount of greenhouse gas as 37 million cars. This waste has a lot to do with the development of each country. While people in Europe and North America waste from 95 to 115 kilograms of food per person per year, people in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia waste only from 6 to 11 kilograms per person per year. The research leads us to our solution concept. We plan to spread awareness of the environmental impacts of over-consuming meat and processed foods. And how will we be able to implement this? This is a simple question that has a simple answer: by changing habits and human behavior. Starting locally in our community in Brazil, we are going to create a campaign making a vegetarian feijoada once a week. Brazilians have feijoada, a dish made of beans and meat, on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We propose the campaign Veggie Wednesday Feijoada, in Portuguese, Na Quarta Vamos de Feijoada. To present this campaign to the public, we have an extensive communication plan that relies on substituting the tradition of eating meat-based feijoada for a vegetarian feijoada on Wednesdays, creating a new habit, using the Kurt Lewin change model, which stands for unfreezing the old habit, introducing the new proposition of a meal, and freezing that new habit again. Through social media, we will show the benefits and outcomes that people are creating by consuming vegetarian feijoada, keeping people up to date with their accomplishments. Reinforcing positive messages will encourage society to continue repeating that pattern until it eventually becomes automatic. The best part of our implementation plan is that it can be adapted to any part of the world. Other examples are zucchini pasta for Italy, veggie sushi for Japan, and vegetable dumplings for China. To sum up, we will now bring our solution benefits. The result of changing one meat-based meal a week will result in a decrease of meat and water consumption, gas emission, and the non-biodegradable packaging. Looking from another perspective, if people chose to eat healthier and be cautious of what they put inside their bodies, the decomposition time of food will lessen. Moreover, the circle of life can be a circle again. A suggestion to solve the gases emitted by the cow's digestion is for the big meat industries to add additives in manure to suppress unwanted biological activity and implement manure storage covers and anaerobic digesters. Another suggestion that we have for big industries is the substitution of plastic and styrofoam packaging for biodegradable technologies that already exist in the market. For example, the banana leaves packaging. Overall, the message our group wants to pass is that no one needs to make a great change in their life, like becoming full-time vegetarian or even trying to make a great change in the world itself. If everyone took a small step, like choosing only one vegetarian meal a week, a positive impact will be made to the environment in general.